Well, the weather for the whole of the south of England will continue as it has for the next few weeks. It's going to be hot and moist, with temperatures rising steadily as time goes on. There's a chance of steamy moments as we move into the... sod it. We never wanted to do this. We never wanted to be weathermen and women making innuendos about hot atmospheres and drizzly countries. We didn't want to be child-friendly. We didn't want to bang on about being for over 18s only. We want to talk about our sexy adventures. We want to be lifestylers, leaping from bush to bush as we sail down the rivers of British sex clubs and mountains of crazy experiences. The cheeky purple mamba, the liquid silk pumped liberally into our hand, the rodeo classic brief harness complete with Tantus curve, the Enjoy Pure One stainless steel dildo, the hot octopus digit, the ever so short messages on Fab Swingers, the sexy friends on Twitter, and the mighty vanilla alternative. With my best girlie by my side, we'd swing, swing, swing.
Get in the gym or to your car. With our advice, you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes. And talk about our sexy dates. It's getting hard for this to rhyme. Just as well, 'cause it's bed hopping time.
Hello and welcome to episode 89 of the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name is Mr. H.
And I'm Mrs. H.
Today we're going to have a special guest on the show and we'll get round to that in just a moment. But before we get there, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I've been listening to.
Is it yourself?
Mostly, yeah. It's mostly myself. Just again on loop.
Yeah.
All the time. No, it's actually about an audiobook that we've heard on Audible.
Oh,
or that I've heard on
but
Audible.
You've heard an Audible because I'm just really such a Luddite and I haven't actually figured it out yet.
To be fair, we did spend an hour trying to work out your Kindle yesterday.
That is very true.
So we got it working, yep. Technical genius that I am.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about the Audible thing. So this is a series, I guess?
I don't know.
I don't know. All right, fine. You're not going to be...
It sounds great, though.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful to you.
Yeah.
That Alex Fox has recorded.
Oh, yes.
Called Kink, with an exclamation mark.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it should be Kink.
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 All right.
And I can hear the cat rummaging around. So if you hear lots of noise going on in the background, it is the kitten. Noodles is a new addition to the Bed Hoppers household, and she's making recording a complete pain in the ass.
Well, she's adding to the recording, if anything.
No, she's trying to eat my wires. This is fucking brilliant. Somebody control the cat, please.
Cannot do that.
What?
Yeah.
I
sorry.
fear for Yoko's life.
Oh, Yoko's fine. She's good with it.
She's sort of barricaded herself into a basket and literally made herself into a bit of a dog burrito so that she cannot be attacked.
Oh, you did
cat.
call the cat a taco last night?
Yeah, she is a taco.
Which was particularly splendid because of the palindrome effect of taco cat.
Taco cat.
Yes.
So backwards, that's...
Taco cat.
Excellent. That's good to know. Anyway, back to the audiobook
yes,
what I have been listening to. Kink! That I've been listening to. I'm about 4 episodes in.
All right.
And it's really, really good. So if you're interested in kink or hearing something sexy or fun, definitely recommend checking that out. Heading to Audible, look up Kink, Bat! And you'll get a really interesting insight into the world of kink, why kink plays an important role in our lives, or it could play an important role in some of our lives, and explorations of all those sorts of things. So,
yeah. Is it documentary? Is it sort of around her journey into kink or other people's journey into
kink? It's more of a sort of documentary
right.
with Alex stepping in and doing some little interviewy things, and
cool.
There's some doctors talking about various bits and bobs.
Oh, it must be good then.
And knowledgeable people,
yeah.
far more knowledgeable than I. Not that takes a lot, talking about kink. And
I mean, if it has doctors...
It has doctors.
Must be good.
And there's lots of little mini interviews and stuff on there. So it's really easy listening.
All right.
And I've really enjoyed it so far. I'm only sort of the start of the way, halfway through. But I really wanted to recommend it. So if you're sat at home bored during the day, you've not got nothing going on or anything going on.
You know, welcome to the rest of the world.
yeah. Welcome to Coronageddon 2020. So get yourself down to Audible and check out that wonderful slice of audio entertainment.
What's it called again?
Kink!
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 All right.
Kink, not to be confused with kinky or kinking.
Okay, cool.
Okay, just kink.
Brilliant.
Kink! Anyways, let's get on with the show. Mrs. H, play that thing.
We've got something that's just for you. Holy shit, it's an interview.
So, as we said, we've got a special guest with us today. Mrs. H, who have we got with us?
We are talking to Vicky from Townhouse, which is a club in, I believe, Liverpool.
What sort of club? Like a billiards club?
A billiards club.
Chess club?
Chess club, yeah. Well, should we refer to it as a sex club? Is that the thing?
Why don't we ask her?
Yes, let's do that.
Hello, Vicky. Welcome.
Hi, no, it's not a sex club. It's a lifestyle venue for swingers, fetishists, and the LGBT community.
That sounds way better.
We consider ourselves educated.
Yes.
Now, we have been told. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
We're going to take our listeners through a bit of a journey about Vicky, our club,
Yeah.
and some of the issues that they're experiencing throughout this wonderful COVID lifestyle that we've all adopted
This lovely
over the last 9 months.
Corona coaster pandemic and how it's impacting the industry that you work in at the moment. So, yeah.
Before we go into too much detail, Vicky, can you give us a bit of information about the club? When was it started? What happens there? What's it like?
Townhouse was established in 2005 and we took over as owners in 2012, although we were working there beforehand. And in the early days, it was very much a traditional swinging club. So it was just swinging, nothing else. It was very, very successful. And then when we took over, I'm very much into BDSM fetish. So we wanted to try and take it more down that path alongside swinging. And then naturally with the BDSM crowd came the LGBT crowd as well. And so over the years, it's sort of morphed into this mix and pot of lots of different people who lead alternative lifestyles all coming together under the same roof. We've currently got around 25,000 members.
Wow.
Obviously, they don't all come at the same time. We need an arena. But we normally get around 130, 140 on one of our busiest nights, which is a capacity crowd. And that really is a mix and pot of people from all walks of life. It is a successful club until COVID hit, and we are the only one on Merseyside, and probably our next nearest one is Manchester. But we are quite fortunate in the Northwest because we've actually got 13 swingers clubs in the Northwest, so we're part of quite a large amount of clubs and we support each other. It's really, really nice. But I think we're more fortunate because we are the only one within, 35 miles, so we've got a nice little niche in our peninsula.
Excellent. So what sort of nights do you host? When you can host nights?
Oh gosh, we have nights for everybody. So we have swinging parties for anybody and everybody. We have age restricted parties, so for people aged 39 and under. We did have over 50s parties as well. We have fetish parties. We have all male parties, all female parties. We have pub nights. We even have a karaoke night every now and then. You know, people get up on the stage in their pants and, you know, sing New York, New York. It's really funny. So we have events for all sorts of different people. We have curvy lady parties. We have all sorts, and we come up with different ideas all the time because we've got a huge demographic and we try and represent them all.
Oh, wow. And you mentioned BDSM being one of your particular favourites. Now, we visited the club and we were really impressed with the facilities, particularly around the BDSM stuff. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we've got 4 floors. The cellar is our cellar dungeon, and it's got authentic jail cells in there, which I'm really proud of. And we've also got a padded cell down there, as well as lots of custom-made kit. And if you remember when you came to the club, we spent quite a lot of time down there because it was like my little domain. I was really proud. Showing you all the bits and bobs around the cellar. But for fetishists like myself, it's a great place to play in because it smells like a cellar dungeon. It's got the atmosphere, it's got the light, and it's an amazing part of the club. But then for those that don't want to be in like the dingy cellar dungeon, we've got classier, if that's a word you can associate with BDSM, dungeons upstairs. And we've also got a clinic medical room. And even in some of our swing and play rooms, we do have little bits and bobs of BDSM equipment because obviously you can incorporate those in your swing and play as well. So we do try and give it a balance of swinging and fetish, but there is a lot of BDSM equipment around.
Fantastic. I have to say, one of our other favourite things while visiting was the gin bar.
Oh,
yes.
My goodness, you've got an amazing gin bar. Yeah.
Yes, we have 56 gins currently. Actually, that's a huge lie. We don't currently have 56 because during lockdown, I've been making my way through the 56 gins. So we probably have about 20 now. But normally we have 56 different types of gin, and it's very, very popular. And every single one has been tried and tested by myself. And if it's not been tested by myself, it doesn't go on the bar. Simple as that.
What a challenge.
But yeah, it's very, very popular. I can't say people come just for the gin bar, of course, but it's a huge feature on the bar.
Definitely. We definitely enjoyed it.
I was super impressed. It was really reasonably priced as well.
Yeah,
I remember being really impressed by that.
Yeah, it is reasonably priced, and we have all the little bits and bobs to go in it, fruit and fancy things to go in it, nice glasses and stuff. We don't just like slam it in a pint glass with a few cubes of ice. We actually make a thing out of it.
Peppercorns in mine. I remember being very impressed and going, "Wow!" Look
it's
at
the fact that you put them into your handbag and took them home with you. That was the worrying.
Do you know what else I remember about that night? But really thought was great was I'm sure you had some jewellery on display in the little reception bit, and I thought that was lovely. It was a really nice entrance. There was gorgeous jewellery displayed at the little cases.
Yeah.
Are you saying you want some jewellery?
No,
this is what I'm reading into this.
Dropping a hint.
I just remember the layout of the place, and I do recall being really impressed with the jewellery when I walked in.
So do you have any sort of hot tub facilities or anything like that?
Yeah, it's all been refurbed recently as well. So it's separate to the main building. We've got a wet area. So it's got a sauna. It's got a 5-person hot tub, rainfall showers. It's got its own lockers and bathroom. So for people that want to spend a good few hours out there, they can do that separate from the main area of the club. And also outside there's our new smoking area, which has all been refurbed. Anyone who's interested can see the pictures on the website, actually. Before, it was this tiny little dingy smoking area, and I always felt sorry for the smokers because they were outcast in this little smoking area. But now we've created this lovely big courtyard. A street artist came in, did loads of great artwork out there. It's nicely lit, and we have a bar out there in the summer. So it's not just a smoking area anymore. It's like a little outdoor kinky, filthy / smoking outdoor sunbathing area right next to the wet area. It's nice.
Fantastic. Probably not the weather for it at the moment, though.
No, but us northerners, we can cope with weather like this. We just put our big coat on.
Excellent. So how long have you been in the lifestyle, as it were, then? What's been your particular journey to get to the club?
We started out in 2004. And we first went to a club in Liverpool called Pussycat's Pleasure Rooms.
Oh, wow.
I get the feeling Austin Powers was there.
Yes.
With a name like that.
And it was how it sounded, to be fair. But we didn't have anything to compare it to, and we loved it. I think you always love your first club. The fact that it was illegal and hadn't had approval at the time didn't matter, because Liverpool won't allow any clubs. We're actually on the Wirral, which is just over the water from Liverpool. So we started out in Pussycat's Pleasure Rooms anyway, and then that got closed down because it shouldn't have been open in the first place. And Townhouse opened in 2005, so then we went over to Townhouse. So we were one of the very, very first customers to walk through the door, and we still got our original membership cards with one of the very first numbers on it. And that's sort of where it all started, really. And we were members for years. We did obviously travel around to other clubs around the northwest, around the country, but we always went back to Townhouse, and it wasn't just because it was on our doorstep. There was just something about it. It felt like really homely. It was quite personal and small compared to other clubs that we went to. So we just kept migrating back to Townhouse. And then in 2010, Jim, my husband, got really ill, really, really ill. And I was a midwife at the time, and we needed to earn some extra money because he wasn't working. So I went and got a bar job in Townhouse, which doesn't really sit well with being a midwife, but we won't really talk about that. And I just did a few shifts a week, and it just sort of went from there. And then an opportunity came up for me to start managing there, which I took on. And then the owner at the time was looking to sell. And it was like a crossroads. Then what do I do? Do I leave midwifery altogether and commit to this? And to be fair, I was a bit demoralised in the NHS. So I thought, if I don't go now, I'm never going to go. So I reluctantly left, but it was the totally right thing to do. And so we took on the ownership in 2012 of Townhouse and never looked back. And I've got to be honest, the last 8 years have gone like that. They've gone so quick, and it's been a vertical learning curve. Even though I've run businesses before, I've never run a business like this before. And even though I love it, if somebody had told me back in 2012 exactly what was involved, I probably would have run for the hills. But I'm really, really, really glad that I did it. So it's such hard work, but you get an awful lot back from it.
What's a typical day like then as a club owner, if there is a typical day?
So it starts normally by being woken up by the work phone. You always get somebody phoning you up at 7 o'clock in the morning wanting information about a swingers club. And so normally it's a phone call and, cups of tea, and the laptop is opened and I start answering emails, Facebook messages, Instagram, Twitter, all that, while I'm having several cups of tea. Normally Jim at the same time is going out and sorting all the stock out while I'm doing all the admin stuff, and the phone's going continuously, so he does the phone calls while I'm online. And then sometimes we have daytime events, so we'll have to leg it over to the club and get the club open. But we also have private hires in the day as well for photographers and people that want to use the facilities for themselves. So one of us or both of us would have to be in the club to oversee that. At the same time, we're still answering the phone, we're still answering messages. So literally from the moment we wake up, it's just this non-stop sort of train of answering calls, answering emails, being in the club. And then in the night time, ta-da, I look fabulous. Not. Usually I'm like bedraggled, throwing myself together at the last minute, slap a smile on my face, we open the doors, I'm like, hi, welcome to Townhouse at 8:30, and we don't stop till 3 o'clock. And it's literally just this ongoing thing. And it's exhausting. We work 90-hour weeks.
Wow.
But it's fun. Sometimes I think when I'm driving to work, I'm like, I'm so tired, I can't do this. And then we open the doors and all of our guests come in looking like $1 million, full of hope and expectation with the dancing shoes on. I'm like, I've got a really great job, actually. Let's do this. It's really good.
That's amazing.
Of course, and this is where we take a slight downturn. The last 9 months, 10 months have been a little bit different, I'm guessing, with the COVID thing going on. How's that impacted you folks?
Yeah, we just didn't see it coming at all. I think since the last time you visited us, we've done a massive refurb. All 4 floors have had work done.
Wow.
And we've invested loads and loads of money in the club. Most of that has been invested in the last 12 months pre-COVID. I think just in the 6 months before COVID, we invested 55 grand just doing refurb.
Wow, that's incredible.
If we'd have known that COVID was coming, we obviously wouldn't have spent all that money on the refurb. And the biggest area to be refurbished was our entertainment lounge, and we literally had 4 events in that lounge before we had to close compulsory by the government. And so it's really sad that we've done all this work and people haven't been able to enjoy it. And then there's the reality of, at the time in March, how long is this going to last? And we couldn't make any plans. We didn't know where anything was going. We didn't know where our income was coming from personally and for the club. We had our staff to worry about, and our staff had very real decisions. Do we stick this out, or do we go and find work elsewhere? And some of our staff have been with us for 7, 8, 9 years, and we don't want to lose them. So, but we can't give them any reassurance. So it was a really, really difficult time in business. Like I said, I've been in business before, but being unable to plan because we just don't know what's going to happen. Then there's all the personal aspects, the lockdown, the worry, I suppose, of, falling ill yourself. What if something happens to me? And Jim couldn't run the club on his own. All these things were going through my head. It was a really, really strange time. And the huge letdown for us was the lack of support from the government and council. We did get a £10,000 grant in March. All businesses got a grant if you paid business rates. So we got that grant. But even when our businesses close, we literally leak money out of our walls. People just assume you close your doors and you don't pay nothing. I'm like, well, if you go on holiday for 2 weeks and lock up your house, you still pay your mortgage, you still pay your council tax, you still pay electricity. Of course you do. Business is exactly the same. And so that 10 grand that we got lasted until August. And that was with trying to cut costs everywhere. And that wasn't including, paying ourselves, basically. So that money's now gone, and there was no further help. And we found actually that businesses like the adult industry and nightclubs, they just weren't important to the government. We were forced to close, and yes, we weren't given any support. So we found ourselves in this position where we're trying to think outside the box of what else we can do with the building. We did try and open for private hires for a little while. Obviously, swinging requires more than a couple. Fetishists, most of the time, if they are part of a couple, they can play at home. They don't really need a venue. And so we were relying on photographers to do photo shoots, but then, which you can do distanced. But they were also worried, about social distancing and coming into venues and if they were going to be safe. And so we didn't get many private hires. So really, our income's been hugely affected, and we're still in this position now. Even though there's been a second national lockdown, we're still fighting for money, and that is all adult venues across the country. That's lap dancing bars, pole dancing bars, and swingers clubs. Nightclubs are also in a bad position. They're not getting funding. Their staff are getting furlough, but the businesses aren't getting supported to top the furlough money up. So they're finding that they're having to take that money from elsewhere. So the whole nighttime industry has been massively let down. And actually, as a whole, we employ millions of people. So we're left hanging at the moment. And also the other letdown is that insurance companies haven't paid out. You might have noticed in the media, I don't know, that hospitality in general haven't been paid out by insurance companies. So there's a high court case going through at the moment, and the hospitality industry, or the barristers representing us, actually won the case, and insurers were told that they would have to pay out on claims. But obviously, insurance companies, I think they had something like 14 barristers working for them or something ridiculous. They're appealing. They're like, well, we're not going to just accept that. And so there's this appeal process going through now. And if they win, then we'll appeal. So this could just go backwards and forwards for months and months and months. So we're not relying on insurance to pay out at all. But what might happen in the meantime, and we've been speaking to our solicitors about this, is, what if companies, not just ours, any company, if there was a shutdown as a result of insurance companies not paying out, because obviously we need that money.
Yeah.
So we close, and then at a later date, it's found that actually they should have paid out. Companies like ours, if we were to close, we would sue the arse off them because our company has closed as a result of them not paying out or not paying out in a timely manner. So they'd have to pay out insurance claims. But I think there's going to be a case for companies to actually sue them as well if they do actually close. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And it's just, it's a crazy, crazy position. We've got no income, very little government support, and no insurance payout. And so we are left in this position now where we're asking for donations from people. I've never been a person that has asked for charity in my life. I've worked hard for everything. And yet here we are, where we're doing fundraising stuff in the club. We're doing raffles, and we now have a fundraising website, and we're doing parties online just to try and get some money together to keep us going, because there's nothing out there for us.
That's absolutely, it's scandalous what's happened to the industry, isn't it? As the bigger impact from the COVID.
Yeah. It's like we just don't matter. We're just swingers clubs to everybody out there, but we're not just lifestyle venues. We're employers, and since we've been closed, obviously we've had to cancel bookings and contracts with our laundry service, our waste management, all of our entertainers, caterers, all these people. I mean, that's not even including our own staff. All these peripheral services have been affected because venues like us have had to close. So it has a knock-on effect everywhere. But we were saying, off air earlier on, I think if the public thought that, public money was going to keep swingers clubs going, there'd be an uproar. But we still pay our taxes, our VAT. We've been established for 15 years. We've worked hard, and we employ people on, like I said, these peripheral services. So actually we do matter. And I think people just need to realise that put what we are aside, we're a business like anybody else and we need to survive.
Well, I think, there's not only the fact that you put money back into the community, like you say, through employing people and different services and all that sort of stuff. Actually, you're probably very good for people's mental health as well as a venue.
Yeah, so, absolutely. It's not actually a coincidence that on the outside of our club is a little plaque. I says the Alternative Therapy Centre because to a lot of people, we are an alternative therapy, because when you come through our doors, there's no windows for privacy reasons, so you shut the door on real life for 4, 5, 6 hours, and everything that has affected you in the day or the week, what is going on in your real life, is forgotten while you're in the venue during that time. And it is like a therapy. You can be yourself, truly yourself, and you have conversations with people that are just like you and forget the world while you're there and have some extracurricular fun while you're at it. It's just a therapy.
Definitely therapy. So you mentioned donations and raffles and things like that. I'm hoping that listeners that are going through this show today are kind of thinking, how can we get involved? How can we help? Where should we point them towards? What's the best place to go?
Okay, well, obviously it's not just us. I want to represent all clubs. Just to highlight on that a little bit, the one good thing that has come out of this is that clubs are working together. All of us are communicating. We're trying to reach out to all clubs around the country to come together, so we're like one unanimous voice. And all clubs have set up something where people can help, whether it be a fundraising website, it could be PayPal, we could be doing raffles and stuff. And the main way to find out what each club is doing is to go onto their website. So our main website is townhouseswingers.co.uk, and the information about our fundraising page is linked from there, and any sort of raffles and that we do will be on our news page. And I know that all clubs have got similar pages on their website to update people. We do have social media as well. We're on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and most clubs also have their own accounts. So for anybody out there who attend other clubs, please go to your own club website and see what they're doing and what situation they're in, because I can guarantee that they're in exactly the same situation as us.
Yeah. You've talked a little bit about the online side of things now. So I think I've seen quite a few clubs kind of trying to adapt now, and in what they're finding to be really difficult circumstances, because let's face it, we don't know when things might open up again. What have you been doing in terms of the online side of things now?
There's several clubs that have come together, led by Le Boudoir. And we've come together on a site called Virtual Swinging. So Mr. G off swinging.com. And basically it's like a camming platform, but it's got the potential to be a lot more. And we're putting quite a lot of time and effort into developing it into much more an interactive space. So hopefully eventually there's going to be news feeds and statuses. There's camming any time of the day, but we do have parties as well. So when there isn't a party on, you can still go and cam with friends. But basically what we've done, we've set this platform up whereby people can attend virtual parties. When we first started talking about this, I wasn't too sure, because camming's not my thing, I've got to be honest. I don't mind being watched when I'm BDSM playing, but on cam, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. But now that I've done it, actually, it's quite a nice alternative. And let's face it, we've got no other alternative right now. And like anything, it is what you make it. So what it is it's just like attending a club. So you'd pay your entry fee to go into the club, to go into the party. There's a social lounge that you can interact with your fellow party attendees with, have drinks. And what you find is people do actually get dressed up or dressed down. They make an effort. They'll grab a gin or a beer. And it's just like being on a night out, meeting new friends or friends that you've already met in the club before. And then slowly but surely, people tend to migrate, and what we have is a few different playrooms that people can go into. There's a dungeon, and there's a private playroom that you can go into, and there's public. And obviously you're only able to play with yourself or each other if you're part of a couple, and then people can watch you, they can play themselves, and so you can choose who you can watch. It can just be one couple, it can be several couples or singles. You can have everybody on there if you want. And some people even like to be directed. What do you want us to do now? So at first I was like, gosh, this is really, really quite strange. I'm not used to this. But once you get into it, it's quite horny, really. And everybody's a lot of fun. And the parties start 9 o'clock till 1 o'clock on the UK platform. And then we automatically at 1 o'clock transfer over to US and Canada.
Okay.
And they join us then. So you might have, 40, 50, 60 people in the UK on our platform. And then all of a sudden it opens up to the US and all these other people join in. You've got a whole load more new friends to meet.
Wow.
And they're so filthy. It's like they've been fluffing for hours before they come online, because as soon as they come on, they're straight at it. It's really, really good. And then some of our UK members, because they've been on since 9 o'clock, they might go offline early hours of the morning. Go to bed for a little bit, get up 9, 10 o'clock, and the USA still at it, so they log back on, they join the party again. So it's a lot of fun. It does take a bit of getting used to this whole online party thing, but it's all we've got to do right now. We can't open clubs, we can't have parties in our homes, it's illegal. So right now we're all adapting to a new way of doing things, and virtual parties is one of them.
Do you think these are going to save the industry at all? In any way?
I don't know if it's going to save it, but I think it might keep us in people's minds.
Yeah.
For those that miss the lifestyle, miss the social interaction, miss the reason to get dressed up for something, I think it's definitely filling a gap. And because it's club-led, a lot of our members are following our leads and coming online to do these parties. But I understand that for some people, it just won't work. Some people don't want to camp. They're not feeling it. They actually want to physically meet people. So I don't know if it's going to save clubs, but I think it is helping us right now to stay in people's minds and keep us current during this thing.
It's funny, really, because before the COVID days, should we call that BCD before COVID days? We had, because, we live in the south coast of the UK, often we would have Skype dates or Zoom chats with people. And we find that we do that because we host a podcast, and we're quite used to doing it. But lots of friends and people that we sort of met initially online were quite sort of reticent to do this sort of Zoom or Skype chat. And as we've gone through the months, and as people have they're like, oh, well, it would be nice to talk to real people again. And it would be nice to have an adult conversation with someone who isn't my cat.
Who's my cat?
It's my dog.
Okay.
It's called Mike Hat. Sorry, that's a terrible Ghostbusters reference. As time's gone on, people have sort of started to get a bit more used to it. They've got a bit more used to the technology, and they do it for work. So, people are very used to sort of, at work, sort of going onto Skype or whatever, and you see the kids walk in the background and you see people walking in their pajamas. That's become our life now in a way. And I think parties are a very similar thing. It's that you might be a bit reluctant to do it, but actually once you start
and in the absence of anything else, I think people are desperate for that social interaction, however that presents itself, like you say, because the reality is we can't go out and touch people. We can't even shake hands with people anymore, let alone like give them a kiss. So of course people are feeling like they need something. Some people might be single, they might just be isolated, whatever it is. I think Zoom has become the buzzword around, the globe, really, isn't it? As a way of staying in touch with, anyone, even absolutely. If it's like a quiz or a catch up or meeting. We had a virtual date recently. It was really successful. It was really good fun. We both got a bit merry in our front room, but what else are you going to do at the moment? So, you're right. It keeps you current, and it keeps in mind that this hasn't ever really gone away. It's just we can't do anything real. Yeah, so let's try and adapt.
It's helping our morale as clubs, because we feel we're a bit stuck right now. We can't open, we can't reach out to our members, physically they can't come into the club, and we're missing that social interaction as well. And it's given us something to do, it's given us a focus. Don't get me wrong, I'm still doing a lot behind the scenes, but with regards to our members, it's given us something to do with our members, and it's given us a bit of hope almost, really. It's very easy, I think, in this situation to overanalyze and worry. We do have concerns about the future. We just don't know what's going to happen. Are we still going to be around next year? I don't know. But by doing this, it's given me a bit of sanity, to be honest with you. And reaching out to other club owners who are in the same position as well, that we're not alone in this. We are all in the same boat. And bouncing ideas off each other, it's just still giving us a purpose. And so for me personally, it's been worthwhile.
It's been really interesting, actually, because I've seen a lot of educational things sort of coming out of this whole process. So, particularly if you're new and this being locked down is kind of put you in the space of, wouldn't it be good to do something really crazy? Hey, let's try our hand at being swingers at the back of this. But this is happening and we're seeing lots of evidence of that. But there's also lots of people that are popping up and saying, okay, we can help you navigate that journey, or we can give you some hints and tips, or we can even just answer your questions. I mean, we did PCAP Podcastapalooza, a virtual version of this earlier on in the year. And it was great because we got to present a session and we got to talk about the messages that you might receive. And so we did it in a slightly, hopefully funny way. But then we got to play around in the format. And then I got Mrs. H to read some Harry Potter fart porn. So,
well, let's not go there.
But actually, the fact is that we were able to do a bit of a sort of, hey, this is something that might help you on that journey when things can open up. And to be fair, not all the world is closed down, although it maybe should.
No, and some parts of the globe are doing significantly better and are coming out the tail end of this, which does give me some hope. That I appreciate at the moment. It feels a bit bleak here at the moment because we're riding this second wave at the moment in the UK. But certainly, parts of Australia and, New Zealand and, other parts of the world are faring significantly better, having, locked down and followed all these guidelines. And, there's clubs open over there successfully, albeit with reduced capacity. But
I was reading about this recently, and I can't remember what they call them, POSVs or something. I don't. Basically, swingers clubs, and they're allowed to open, but with a capacity of 10 people. I mean, there might be some bigger clubs out there that might have a big capacity, but I think it was in the Victoria region, and I read the government guideline. It was 10 people. And I mean, okay, we both know you can have a fantastic time with 6 people. You don't even need 10 people. You can still have a great night. But from a business point of view, how the fuck are you supposed to make money with 10 people? Really? Are they going to subsidise the money you're losing by opening a whole building for 10 people? So, I mean, if it came to it and the government said to us, yes, Townhouse, you can open with 10 people, I'd be like, can't afford it, mate, sorry. We just can't afford to open with just 10 people. We need to open properly. So I don't know how they're going to make money over there for doing that. But yeah, you're right. Some parts of the world are starting to open up, and it does give you a little glimmer that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
It does.
You have to sell a lot of merch, really, to make those 10 people work. They have to buy everything in the place.
I'm a good salesman. I'm not that bloody good.
I'll have 42 gins, please, my good man.
No, she's already drank through half of them. There's only 20 left. Now, I will definitely be online for that one. Challenge accepted.
So I look forward to the Townhouse-sponsored gin challenge coming soon in 2021, probably.
Led by me.
Let it be gin.
So while we're on the topic of reopening,
not gin. All right.
Not gin. Let's move away from the gin for now. What are your top tips for people that are going to a club for the first time? Because we get asked this a lot. I'm sure you do as well. Yeah. What's your go-to couple of tips to help people get through the door? Okay,
so the first thing that the biggest question that we get asked is we don't know what to expect. What can we expect when we first go to a club? And I think people expect a club to be, seedy, that people are going to drag you into a room, kicking and screaming, and you've got to have sex with a stranger on your first night. And so when I get asked that question, what to expect? I'm like, well, when you come into our place, it's just like walking into any bar. And you treat it as a night out. You don't have any expectations whatsoever. So you take it as an opportunity to get your glad rags on, have a few drinks, meet new friends. If you want to take things further, the opportunity is there, but nobody's going to drag you kicking and screaming into a room. We do have nights for that, for special people, but on a regular night, no. And you are absolutely in control. No means no. So if someone is to ask if you want to play, you don't not feeling it, or you don't want to play, you just say no. So I try and get across to people that just because you walk into a swingers club does not mean you have to swing. You don't have to even get your clothes off if you don't want to. Our club is not an immediate dress down venue. You can stay downstairs in your clothes all night if you want. We normally have a DJ on, or a performance of some sort, so you can go and have a dance. So you treat it as a night out. And then our playroom's upstairs, and what goes on up there is additional to an already great night. So that's what I try and get across to people, is don't put pressure on yourself. And if you're a couple, communicate, talk about what it is that you want from this thing individually as a couple. Communicate when you're actually in the venue, and communicate afterwards. And if you just keep talking to each other, you can't go wrong. If something goes on and you're not really quite happy with it, then talk about it afterwards. I wasn't quite happy with how that went. I was feeling uncomfortable, or, oh my God, that was amazing. Can we do it again, please? So if you communicate at all stages, you can't really go wrong. And just don't expect too much of yourself. It's one thing having this fantasy in your head of how you think things might go, but in reality, it can be a lot different. So, don't expect too much of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Enjoy the night out. And, if you're not up to it on the night, then it's okay. Just still, try and have a good night out. They're the main things to try and say to people.
I think that's true of anybody, not just new people going to a club, just to kind of manage your own expectations. And if you go in expecting nothing and something happens, fantastic. But if you go in expecting the world, I think you're always going to be left disappointed, really.
Yeah. I mean, you do see people walking out of a club and they look pissed off. And you know why? It's because they're horny as hell when they've walked in the club. They've had high expectations, and either nobody's taken their fancy, or they've approached people and they've said no. And so they've had their main aim is to have sex with another couple, another single. It hasn't happened, and so they've left early with a gob on them, rather than just seeing it as a great night out and sex as a bonus. That's how you should be seeing it, really.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's really good advice. I'm wondering how this translates now to the virtual parties. I'm really very new to those. I haven't been to any. So what would my expectations be, I suppose, for the virtual parties now? You say it's very cam-based.
I can tell you your first one would be to probably get your husband to set up the video camera and the computer, because there's no chance of you being able to do that.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Just wandering around with a phone. Like, no, it's not going to work, is it?
Well, I think from my point of view, because I wasn't so sure about it, I didn't know what expectations I had. So I thought, well, do you know what? I've not got dressed up for 9 months. I've not put heels on. I've hardly worn makeup. I've not really done my hair. So, I wouldn't have gone on camp for the first 3 months because my hair was wild, having not gone to the hairdressers. So for me, my main expectations was, okay, let's get a nice frock on. Let's get my heels on, even if nobody's going to see it. Put some makeup on and make myself look good and feel good. And that was my main thing on my first night on these parties. It wasn't to do anything or see anything as such. It was to just actually have a reason to get dressed up, and that made me feel great. I've got to be honest, as a female that hasn't worn heels since March, it was a really nice feeling to have a reason to get dressed up, and then seeing other people as well who'd made an effort. So I think where the virtual parties are concerned, it's the same thing. Don't have any expectations. Think, I'm having a night out for the first time in ages. Okay, it's secretly a night in, but let's treat it like a night out. And then anything goes after that. Let's just see how it all develops.
One of the really successful things I think we've had when we've had a virtual date with somebody is that they turned their, I believe it was their ironing board into a table, and they dressed up like it was an actual date, and they put like candles and little things on it. And
have an actual dinner date with someone.
Yeah, and
nice.
It felt a bit like a dinner date.
It did. Because, essentially you are still sitting opposite each other, aren't you?
Yeah.
You just don't have the physical...
You're just not going to get the hand job under the table.
Oh, my God.
And it's fine.
You can always do that yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You could, but I do quite like this when you're just switching everything else off and you're just devoting attention to the people that you're conversing with virtually. It can be a really good night, and we've actually had nights where they've been 3-4 hours of chatting, and It's been great.
Well, we've done that rolling onto the Americans and then further onto the Australians, or whatever way the timeline works. So we've kind of had a chat with people in the UK, and then that chat has ended like, oh, who's up now? We're still having a few drinks.
America's waking up.
Yeah, America's waking up.
Yeah.
Oh, and now we've gone through the Americans. They're sort of going on to their tea or whatever it is they're doing. Let's chat to the Australians who are now waking up. This is great.
They're having breakfast and we're absolutely obliterated. Yeah. Brilliant.
They're just getting us plenty of Red Bull there.
The Australians don't get the best out of us by the time it gets to them, I don't think.
They do get the funniest, though.
No. So, yeah, I mean, the whole virtual thing, it's all so new to us, isn't it? And as a collection of clubs, we're still learning ourselves. We're coming up with ideas, trying fresh ideas, and our guests are still learning as well. But it's our new normal, and I hate that phrase. We hear it all the time, this new normal. But it is. It's all we've got right now, and we're making the best of it, and we're all learning as we go. So we just have to see where it all goes, really. I'd like to think that if and when clubs reopen again, virtual parties, there might still be a place out there for virtual parties, but we'll have to just wait and see, won't we, how it all goes.
Well, I think it'd be a really good thing to still have them around. One of the other top tips that I'm chucking in a lot of stuff now at the back end of this show, but which is ironic given what I'm about to talk about, which was we've actually recently discovered toys that you can control off of the internet. So we've had a few fun chats with people where we've offered the code out to the toy, and then the people on the other end of the interwebs can control that toy, and that's been tremendous fun. So there's all these little ways you can connect with people, but I would love to see virtual parties stay around and being a thing, even if things like meet and greets become much more the virtual party that you have, so you can all jump on, find out new things, or just chat to people or get to know them a little bit. I think that would be a really great way to make the most of it, because sometimes people don't want to venture out unless they think that there's the chance of you playing or whatever it might be. Not always a great attitude, but if you could do that sort of on a virtual basis, I don't know, on a Tuesday night or something stupid like that, that would actually be a really good way of managing your time, especially for those that have kids or aren't able to leave the house because their pets are too needy. I'm thinking of us.
I think this is going to be the reality for a while, though. And like you say, Vicky, we don't know.
Virtual reality.
We don't know what's coming. And if we've learned anything this year, it's the unexpected just comes along and pulls the rug out from you when you're least expecting it. So we've all had to really think of, outside the box, haven't we? And trying to prepare for whatever's next.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like most people, we are literally winging it right now.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing one of that. And we've done a similar thing with our show in that we can't talk about our wonderful adventures if we can't fucking have any adventures.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. So you sort of run dry a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, this is what we could have been.
Yeah, this is what you could have won. I want to say an absolute huge thank you for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
No problem at all.
What I would say is, if you could let us know one more time where people can find you folks in the world and what they could do to help, that would be amazing, because I really think people can make a difference for you guys.
I hope so.
Okay, so you need to visit your home club's website. So for us personally, it's townhouseswingers.co.uk, but we do have a fundraising website, townhousefundraising.com. Dead easy to remember. But all clubs will have their own fundraising websites or means of helping them. So if everybody can reach out to their own local clubs, see what options there are, and please help them out, because we want to still be here at the end of all this. And we are fighting so hard to keep going, but we do need the support of our members as well. We are members clubs at the end of the day, so our members do need to get behind us as well. Please, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Mrs. H, do you want to do your thing?
I do. Well, thank you for hopping into our bed.
Hello, are you still here? What are you doing here?
Me?
No, not you.
Oh.
You're not allowed to get up yet.
Brilliant.
So a huge thank you to Vicky and Townhouse for coming onto the show and talking about all the stuff that they're doing. We're looking forward to the club being open again at some point in the future. Not the near future necessarily, but at some point. If you want to help them with fundraising, go check out their website. It would be really good to do that.
And likewise, for your own local club, don't forget to look at their websites and give them some funds, which would be nice. And if you want to send us some funds or some gifts in the post, we'd welcome anything you can. Actually, no, that's not true. We don't need your funds. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you to think of it and send it our way.
Or you can send nudes. Nudes.
Yeah. Well, you've got to clarify, Mrs. H.
Not nudes.
Yeah.
Which is Noodle the cat.
Noodle the cat. So what we've found is that people have now started asking us to send nudes.
Excellent.
Which actually means pictures of the cat.
Yes.
Yes.
Which are amazing.
Well, I have taken the pictures, so...
excuse me, I've taken quite a few nudes myself.
Yeah, I think the cat has just fallen off the baluster out, but it'll be fine. We'll be good. She's just running around in the background.
Oh, poor Noodle.
Yeah, but some of them you took.
Yes.
And there were some amazing ones that I took.
Wait, are you talking about nudes now that you took?
Yeah, I took some nudes this week, actually, and sent you some nudes.
I know you did.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right then.
All right. Thanks for joining us.